Hey everybody, welcome to Camping Gear TV. I am your host as always, Josh, and with us today is a special guest, friend of the show, Gus Poplos. Thanks for joining us. As everybody knows, we a couple weeks ago started a new thing where we're going to be interviewing people once a week, including gear companies, but also people that are doing awesome things outdoors and have a cool story to tell. And the latter is the category that Gus fits into. And I don't want to say too much, but basically Gus and his girlfriend kind of sold all their belongings and are in the middle of the great American road trip, traveling around the country, camping and stuff. So thanks again, and why don't you tell them how'd you guys get started with this, and what are you guys up to?
Well, we were living in Florida, Orlando, Florida, and the unemployment rate there, I believe we're number 47 in the country, and it was just tough finding a job. It was tough finding a job that was, worth keeping and everything. So we decided maybe instead of sticking around and paying a whole bunch of money in rent, just take our savings. And it ended up being cheaper to travel from place to place and sleep in tents, get a national parks pass, travel from here to there and everything, and do it that way.
How much does a pass like that cost?
The National Parks Pass is $80 for the year.
And you can get it in any national parks?
I believe you can get it in any national park, but you can also go to directly to the website, which I wish I would have written down now. But it's about $80, and the only problem with that is that it doesn't include overnight camping, but it allows you access to the park. And once we end up getting out west, to get in the Grand Canyon, I think is like $30 per person. So I mean, it almost pays itself off in one day there. So.
Wow, that's nice. That's nice. So when you guys, from the time that you decided to, sell all your belongings to finance this big road trip, how long did all that stuff take?
2 months. We actually came up with the idea one night, and we set a date for ourselves. We were going to be out by the end of August, and we stuck to that. And it took a lot of work getting all our ducks in a row. It was a big, it was a lot of trouble, doing the garage sales and everything else. It was just a huge hassle and everything, but we got it all done. And looking back, definitely well worth it.
Yeah, gotcha. And when you guys were planning it, I would imagine that it was probably kind of a monumental task at first to even think about where to begin, and so did you guys like get out a map and say we're going to go from here to here to here to here, or how'd you do that?
We kind of had a whole bunch of different schemes that we were kind of tentatively planning, looping up through the southeast, or just going west first, or yada yada yada, and it was there was a lot of headaches there as well, and then we kind of butting heads as far as who wanted to go where and everything, but when it was all said and done, we just kind of threw our hands up in the air and decided to just let everything kind of fall where it lays, where it falls, I guess.
And you guys are blogging about the trip as well and talking about some of the stories and stuff. Tell people about that a little bit.
Well, initially, and I'd still kind of like to stick to that. Initially, we had planned to travel from place to place and talk to different people about whatever social or environmental issues that are affecting them in their lives. It's proven to be a lot harder to do that. We're in areas for short amounts of time, and it's kind of hard to seek those people out and find something pertinent to interview them on. So now we're kind of just going from place to place and basically telling stories of places that we checked out. Different parks, the benefits of going there, different restaurants, whatever, and eventually I'd like to, hopefully start to plan ahead a little bit and contact people before we get to whatever area we're going to and talk to them about, just trying to raise awareness on issues.
Right. So you're in St. Louis now, and you're generally speaking heading west, right? So anybody west of St. Louis that wants to get the word out about any environmental or social issues in your area, hit these guys up. We'll have a link to their websites and stuff. So in terms of the camping side of things, I know you brought a couple things with you that you said when we were talking about the show. I said, what are a couple pieces of gear that you've come to rely on, and you brought a couple things with you, right?
Yep.
You got this knife here?
Yep, I've got this model is called the Hunter. It's from Fiddleback Forge. It's owned by a guy named Andy Roy. He makes
Fiddleback Forge?
Fiddlebackforge.com.
Okay.
You can go there, check out the knives.
All right.
He makes all the knives out of O1 steel, so they're a lot harder, they're a lot more sturdy, and
and you made that one, right?
I made the handle on this one. I cut out the handle. He did all the grinds and everything on everything, and he actually shaped the handle. I just cut out the basic shape on it.
Right. It's very nice.
He does everything by hand, and it takes about 4 days to make a knife from start to finish.
Wow.
He cooks it twice. He tempers it twice. Really hard, durable metal. His shop is in. It's about an hour north of Atlanta.
An hour north of Atlanta. Okay, so handmade knives, Fiddler Forge?
Fiddlebackforge.
Fiddlebackforge.com. And wow, that's pretty nice to have a knife that was made by hand and took somebody 4 days to make. So we'll definitely link that up. What's the other thing you got?
And this, I have a King Power K1 flashlight. And what I like about this is it's just really small, compact, and it's really durable. I think it's all stainless steel with the exception of the cap, and the front is glass. But
you've had it a long time?
I've probably had it about 2 months now.
2 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
all right.
Super bright light, and the batteries last a long time, and it's just super durable and easily pocketable.
Gotcha. Nice. Yeah, I think I saw that those sell for about $35 online. So for pretty durable. You know, this thing, the construction on this reminds me a lot of a Maglite, but it's very small, and this thing puts out a lot of light. You know, it's very nice. It's pretty cool. So those are a couple of good pieces of gear, but I know you were also telling me about a bad experience with gear. If you want to share that, if you're brave enough.
Yeah, well, my girlfriend and I, we've done a lot of, I've done a lot of camping in Florida, and you know, it rains all the time and everything down there, but it's never. For the most part, it doesn't get too cold.
Right.
And when I have gone camping, there hasn't been too much rain. You know, we always plan it out around the weather. But her and I went camping in the Smokies, and on the second or third night, we did a 22-mile hike round trip. And on the second night, I think it started raining at 8 p.m., didn't let up until 8 p.m. the next day. And it was just cold rain. We did not have proper gear at all. I was wearing cotton everything. Everything swelled up. My bag ended up weighing about 30 more pounds than it had originally. So that was a definite lesson learned. Don't bring cotton. Cotton is your worst enemy out on the trail.
Right.
And we have to get a better backpack for my girlfriend, and lesson learned the hard way for sure.
So was that just old stuff you had laying around, or was it newly purchased gear?
Well, it wasn't even my gear, with the exception of my clothes, was all pretty good.
Okay.
Her backpack was just something that we had laying around, but the clothing, you know, I had gotten rid of some water wicking stuff, you know, saving room. I just was bringing stuff that I thought I would wear, you know, more often, and I just didn't know that cotton was that huge of an issue to bring out. It was awful.
Right. So you guys were hiking 22 miles, you said?
Yeah.
And then you got stuck halfway through, drenched, basically?
Yep, and I think I was experiencing the early stages of hypothermia. I couldn't move my fingers and everything. She was alright. She had a Patagonia fleece, and you know, I was wearing a sweater kind of like this one that was just like soaked and sticking to me, and cold.
Yeah, no fun. So don't bring cotton out if it's gonna rain, or period. So you know, I appreciate you guys coming on the show. And you know, what should people look for? You know, to check out your site, to stay up to date with where you guys are traveling.
Yeah, right now we're a little bit behind. It's kind of hard to find internet access. Our website is theelegantvagrant.blogspot.com, and hers is andreainwonderland.blogspot.com.
Theelegantvagrant.blogspot.com.
Correct.
All right, I gotcha. And what's the other one?
Andrea in Wonderland.
andreainwonderland.blogspot.com.
It's a mouthful.
I got it.
But we're a little bit behind, but we're trying to update as much as possible. And,
right.
It's kind of hard on the road.
Yeah. So I think it's a really cool story. I think a lot of people have always thought about doing something like what you guys are doing. You know, sell all your stuff, whether or not you sell all of your personal belongings or not, but just to take a huge road trip around the states. camp at all sorts of random places. You know, I think it's really cool to see people doing it. I think it's definitely awesome to see the way you guys did it, you know, with the economy and the job situation, just deciding that, you know, there's another option besides just paying rent and, you know, throwing money down the tubes. You can go do something that's something you'll never forget. You know, you probably would easily forget staying in the apartment for another 3 months.
Definitely.
You know, so hopefully, I think your story is pretty cool, and hopefully it'll, you know, inspire some other people out there to, you know, sack up and, you know, do what they want to do and get out there and travel and do fun stuff. So I appreciate you guys coming on.
Definitely. Thank you.
And as always, come back, watch more camping gear reviews. I'm Josh. This is Gus, and we are campinggeartv.com.